The park after midnight. It started like any other night. My best friend Aaliya and I had just wrapped up our shift at the restaurant. We worked late, almost every night, slinging burgers and pouring coffee for truckers and the occasional insomniac. We were tired, sure, but there was something magical about those early hours of the morning when the world felt quieter and a little more ours. We shared this weird little ritual. After every Friday night shift, we'd sneak into the old city park. It was technically closed after 10 p.m., but the gate was easy to climb and no one really cared. We'd bring a couple of cheap drinks, maybe chips or chocolate, and sit under this massive crooked tree in the far corner. That night felt colder than usual though. The sky was clear, stars sharp and silver. The air had a strange bite to it, like it was warning us. But we laughed it off, as usual. Climbed the gate, ran across the damp grass. We reached the tree and settled on the stone bench underneath. I cracked open a can, handed one to Aaliya. We clinked cans and let ourselves breathe. Then I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. A slow, deliberate sound on the path behind us. We both turned. The path was lit only by moonlight and the yellow haze of a dying street lamp. That's when we saw her, an old woman, thin as a scarecrow, wrapped in layers of fabric that hung off her like old curtains. She walked with a tall stick that hit the ground with each step, too loud, too sharp. Her face was almost hidden by a scarf, but we could see just enough. Her eyes were pale, white, like milk or smoke trapped in glass. I whispered, "Do you see her? Aaliya, she's looking at us." The woman moved toward us, slow but deliberate, like she knew exactly where we'd be. Every step seemed to pull the air tighter around us. The wind died. Even the distant hum of traffic faded. She stopped a few feet away, stared. Then, in a voice that cracked like old wood, she said, "Old woman, the birds know what you've done." I blinked. "What?" She raised a bony hand and pointed up at the tree above us. Her fingers were long, joints knobby and wrong. I turned to look. At first I saw nothing. Then feathers. Black, wet, dripping. Hundreds of feathers began falling, spiraling through the air like ash. I looked up again and saw them. Birds. Dead. Dozens of them, hanging from the branches by strings tied around their necks. I screamed, "Run, now!" We turned, but the woman was gone, not walking away, not fading into the dark, just gone. We ran like hell, tripped over roots, scaled the gate, didn't stop until we were back at the restaurant parking lot, our chests heaving, hearts slamming in our throats. We never went back to that park. But sometimes, on nights when the wind is dead still and the clock strikes midnight, I hear that sound again. Tap, tap, tap. And I wonder if the birds are watching and if she's coming back for us. It was just past midnight when I got on the last train of the Northern Line. The platform was empty, and even though it was a summer night, a strange chill hung in the air, not the kind that touches your skin, but the kind that sinks into your bones. I stayed too long at my friend's party, and now it was just me, heading home alone through the quiet underground. When I stepped into the carriage, I saw them, a couple sitting at the far end. They looked strange right away. Both of them sat perfectly still, not talking, not looking at each other, just staring straight ahead. The woman was in a long red dress, and the man wore a black suit that looked too formal for the hour. His skin looked pale, almost waxy. I tried not to stare, but something about them just felt off. I sat a few seats away and pulled out my phone. No signal, of course. After a minute or two, I glanced up again. They were closer, 2 rows closer. I didn't hear them move, didn't see them get up. They were just there, a little closer, still silent, still staring. My stomach dropped. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things, that maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I was definitely starting to feel uneasy. The train stopped at the next station. The doors opened with a hiss, but the platform was completely empty. No one got on, no one got off. When the doors closed and I looked up again, they were right across from me. No sound, no movement, just there. I could feel it now. Something wasn't right. The air around them felt colder, heavier. I could hear the blood pounding in my ears. Then she moved, her head tilted to the side, slow and unnatural, and her eyes, cold dark, locked onto mine. Her mouth opened wider than it should have, revealing no teeth but blackness, a void, endless. The man turned his head next, skin cracking like old paper, and whispered in a voice that sounded like it came from somewhere far away, "You shouldn't be here." The train stopped suddenly, dead in the middle of the tunnel. The lights flickered, then went out completely. It was pitch black. I tried to scream, but I couldn't make a sound. The next thing I remember is the sound of the train pulling into the last station. Lights back on, doors opening, empty. But I wasn't there, not anymore.